This is Locked On Bulldogs. Today we're talking more TCU. And Daniel, what if I was to tell you that the greatest college athlete in football of all time played at UGA? When we're watching that story unfold before our eyes.
You mean is currently playing at UGA?
Is currently playing at UGA.
Uh-oh.
We talk about that as well as preview a couple position battles for the national championship game next on Locked On Bulldogs.
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Hello and welcome to the Locked On Bulldogs podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for following. Thanks for being a part of the show. And if you're subscribing on YouTube, thanks for being here. Go subscribe to the audio podcast, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We got some guests coming on later in the week, so we're going to be talking TCU with some TCU folks. That'll be fun. And then we will be back. Obviously, we'll have an episode that puts out Monday morning for you for your commute, for your just the same as we always do, getting you ready for the game. And then Monday night after the game, we'll be back with the overreaction show on Monday night. And there's a lot of different ways that it could go.
Oh my!
Let me just say, nothing is for sure on that show. So tune in for that. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you hit that notification bell, all those good things. All right. Let's talk about quarterback play, Clint. Stetson Bennett, pretty good in the Peach Bowl. I don't know. Definitely had his moments. Didn't look... A lot of people don't... don't put into perspective... Okay, Stetson Bennett and C.J. Stroud finished with the same passing numbers, basically.
Not all yards are the same.
Almost identical completions to attempts, almost identical yardage. Stetson a little bit more yardage, and very similar numbers in terms of touchdowns as well. And then people talk about how Stetson Bennett was 10 of 12 in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
For 190 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now do some quick math in your head.
Okay.
And tell me how Stetson Bennett was in the first 3 quarters.
Yeah, see, that's what's missing.
The thing that people are acting like. When Stetson Bennett comes out and he says, I played like ass in that game.
And Kirby then said, we got to
that's
clean up.
what he said. And then Kirby comes out and says, boy, we got a heck of a lot of things we got to clean up if we're going to hope to win a national championship game. And people start to lose their minds as if that's coach speak, and they say, look at these numbers that Stetson Bennett put up. Okay, don't be a stat room hero and just post these box scores, all right? There's more to a game than a box score. First 3 quarters, Stetson Bennett did not look great at times, but he made up for it when it counted. Now transition to Max Duggan with me for a second, because Max Duggan's entire 2022 season can be summarized as follows. He didn't look great at times. But boy, when the game was on the line, he sure looked like the best player on the field.
That's right.
I know that the most obvious example of that was in the Big 12 title game, that last drive that he had. I know they lost that game because Kansas State got the ball back and they scored. But that last drive that Max Duggan, when he put the team on his back and he marched them down the field and they scored that touchdown, that was one of the most single-handedly heroic drives that I have seen a quarterback. And he's been doing that kind of stuff all year.
Yes.
Do we have the 2 most clutch quarterbacks in the NCAA playing for the national championship on Monday, Clint?
I would venture to say absolutely. Now, we just got done watching this week. USC absolutely run that yellow liquid down their leg because Lincoln Riley's a bad coach.
But he's an offensive savant.
Yeah, whatever. Caleb is a good quarterback, but when it matters, look, I know clutch gene is not a thing. I understand that. However, you explain to me Tom Brady, please. You do it then.
Make it make sense.
You explain to me Joe Montana. You make it make sense. I can't. Right. There is just something that happens, and we could really, really dork out. I like that stat room hero. That's on a T-shirt coming along with $199. But there is
how many of those T-shirts do you think will sell? Probably 200.
Probably 200.
201, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah. Look, there are reasons to understand that actually when things get critical, when situations get dire, there are certain people that rise up in those situations. They welcome the challenge. And it seems to me that Stetson Bennett is bona fide, that dude. Max Duggan seems absolutely. It's almost like he wants to be behind. And then he starts cooking his best, which is no one wants to be behind. I'm being facetious with that. But that's what it feels like at times because he has performed his best when the best is required. And Stetson the same way. Stetson won a national championship with that mentality and has led us to another one with that mentality. And so, yeah, Daniel, I would say the two most clutch performers. I'm thinking of other quarterbacks. Matt Leinart did not have a clutch gene. He had two all-world running backs that lit college football on fire. Okay,
and it's the dumbest argument in the world to talk about the talent around and the it just doesn't do it for me. You win or you don't, and these two quarterbacks have gone out and won.
They're winners.
And all season, the winning has been in large part due to their performance directly on the field. And so big time players, these two quarterbacks, maybe kind of swing back and talk about Stetson Bennett from a big picture perspective. Before we do that, we need to transition to the running back room and talk about some backs for UGA that we need to see more of.
But first, I want to talk about BetOnline. BetOnline is your sportsbook experts. They have everything you need to not bet this line. Don't you dare bet the line. Don't you dare even think about touching it. But if you wanted to give that 13.5 points over on the UGA, Daniel, I just got done telling people, don't you dare bet the line.
Why would you bet the line?
Don't
touch that line.
But BetOnline has the opportunity for TCU fan for you to just throw your money at something. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't care about that. I care about us winning. They have money lines. They have parlays. They have everything you need. Baseball's around the corner. NBA, college basketball, which, by the way, it is Mike White season, and we'll be talking about it for quite some time. You
better get ready.
But not this week. BetOnline, the official sports book of Locked On Bulldogs. Guys, I'm holding them at bay for one more week, and then
Clint is like the employee of whatever bowl game Texas was playing in, and I'm like Steve Sarkisian. You understand? That's what's happening right now. He's like, sir, if you could just stand back. And I just stood there and took it for a minute, but then at some point, it's gonna be.
I was gonna go Kramer with the chaperone and Jerry.
Yeah.
The pageant contestant. But yes. Okay, Daniel, we saw on Saturday an incredible performance by Kendal Milton. He looked healthy. He looked great. He had that touchdown that was absolute man strength. I don't know how he has old man strength already at a young age, but he got it. He is explosive. He was seeing the field very well. And then all of a sudden, it just ceased.
He disappeared. I thought he got hurt.
I'm still not convinced he didn't get hurt.
If somebody can make it make sense to me, where Kendal Milton win in this game, please do. I'm dead serious. Leave it in the comments. Send us a message on Twitter at Dawgs Podcast. I would love to know what happened to Kendal Milton in this game because I was screaming for him because Clint, Kenny McIntosh is the best back on this team.
He is the back. Make no mistake about that.
He's the best back on this team. He's one of the better players on this team because of his versatility and what he brings to the game. Vastly improved as a runner. Elite out of the backfield catching the football. Kenny Mac does everything that we need. But there is no more physically dominant runner on this team than Kendal Milton. Now that he is 100% healthy, now that all of that injury stuff is behind him, we hope, he is the most physically gifted, physically dominant runner on this team, and this Georgia team needed him on Saturday.
And he showed up.
And they continue to need him this Monday night against TCU. Georgia has got to be able to run the ball against TCU to make this game boring, to slow this game down, to make this game we're just going to be out there.
Matt Luke this thing all day long.
Matt Luke in this thing right down to the end.
Daniel, to your point, this is from Dave McMahon, Dave McStats on Twitter. He has this. Kenny McIntosh is the third different SEC player in the 2000s and first since 2009 to have the following.
Okay.
500 plus rushing yards, 500 plus receiving yards, 10 plus total touchdowns in one season. The other two, Percy Harvin and Dexter McCluster.
Well, that seems like a lot.
That's a lot. He's incredible. Absolutely insane season. He has the best back. But I'm going to need, essentially, by the way, trademark this next. I'm giving you a warning right now. We are trademarking this. It's going on a t-shirt. Don't steal it from us.
I mean, when we trademark things, it just becomes commonplace.
Yeah, I know.
We don't.
We can't.
No one respects it.
No one respects.
The 199 respect it.
That's right. I want a death march this entire game. If Stetson Bennett has under 10 pass attempts, but
full game death march.
Full game death march. That would be beautiful. And I need it to be led by Kendal Milton. He needs to be leading this attack with it. I know that Kenny Mack has that elusiveness on the outside, but I need 15, 20-yard clips, just full dead sprint downhill, 1 foot in the ground and go as you maul linebackers. And that's, if we don't get that, I'm going to be confused again. We saw Dejan start the game, which was, again, very confusing to me. I thought for sure Kenny Mack would, or if not Kenny Mack, then Kendal, and then all of a sudden Dejan out there, and he's not a scrub. Like, we love Dejan, okay? He was the originator of the death march.
That's
33 carries in one drive, it seemed, against I get it. But it hits different. This death march, this team hits different when Milton is in rhythm. And if you've noticed how the running back room rotates, Daniel, when there is a rhythm on offense, when we go tempo, not when we get behind the sticks, but when we're on rhythm and in tempo, the running backs don't come off the field. We don't rotate as much when that happens. I need that, and I need Milton being the one leading the charge.
Yeah, it was fascinating to me. There were points when I was yelling at my television, and I was mostly dead inside for the whole game, the Peach Bowl.
100%.
But there were points I was yelling at my television because I wanted Kendal Milton in the game, and I wasn't seeing him. We need to see him. We need to see a heavy dose of him. I hope he leads the team in carries on Saturday or on Monday. I would love that. I would love it if Kendal Milton led this team in carries. Not necessarily snaps, but carries.
Yes.
Give me more of him. And to your point, man, oh man, if Georgia could somehow come out and run this ball for 230 yards, that would just ease a lot of the tension. You know what I'm saying? It's all in the hips. It would just ease a lot of the tension. So let's talk about, let's continue to talk about this Georgia offensive side of the ball, because honestly, I'm not sure I can look the defense in the eye after Saturday still. We'll get around to it eventually, but I can't.
Actually, reports are that the defense hasn't been seen in 2 days.
They just locked him in a room. Will Muschamp's just staring at him. Just every one of them just
hasn't been a word spoken in 48 hours.
No. All right. Let's talk about Stetson Bennett, and let's use some words that are going to get us in a lot of trouble with some people.
By the way, I think coming out of break, let's use some words that are going to get us in trouble.
People love that's how you get them back for the third segment.
No, Daniel, what I was going to say is, what words haven't we said that are still to get trouble? We've said all the words to all the people that are getting in trouble, but yet we have this one mount yet to climb, and it's this. Daniel, I just ask you, This is going to be my simplest question.
Okay.
If we win, on
Big if.
Monday, big if. I'm not doubting that at all. I'm not taking nothing for granted. Is Stetson Bennett the best collegiate football player in the history of NCAA?
It depends on what you mean by best. So I just want to get out ahead of it.
Okay, all right, LeBron and MJ.
I want to get out ahead of it. If you mean most talented, then the answer is no. If
Certainly
you mean
not.
most dominant, then the answer is no. If you mean most successful, then the answer is unequivocally yes. Stetson Bennett will be, if he wins on Saturday, and I'm not talking about, okay, if we win because we have 9 pick sixes and that overcomes the 7 interceptions that Stetson Bennett throws, then obviously a lot of this is off the table. But if we win Saturday, you would be hard-pressed to argue, to me, that there's ever been a more successful football player at any position than Stetson Fleming Bennett IV. So, you mentioned Tom Brady earlier, and I just ask you, how many years has Tom Brady played in the NFL? The answer is 79. He has played in the NFL for 79 consecutive seasons.
Had 0 degrees when Tom Brady won a
That's not the temperature. He's not talking about the temperature. And just so we're clear, Clint is just a few credits short of his bachelor's. Just a couple credits. That's really unhelpful time framing for most people listening to this podcast, Clint, but thank you for that. Tom Brady's been in the NFL for 200 years.
That's
right?
Also very good, helpful.
How many titles has he won percentage-wise? Percentage-wise.
I love where you're going with this. This is fantastic.
I don't know what the number is. I didn't do the research.
Has he won 6? Is that?
Yeah. It's like, what is it, a quarter? A third?
He's been in the league 24 years, right?
He's been in the league 24 years, so it's under a quarter.
Yeah.
So it's under a quarter, under 25% of his seasons, he has won the championship. Maybe in the 20% range. Well, Stetson Bennett has been the starting quarterback at Georgia for 2 seasons. And he's about to go back-to-back national championships. So that alone puts him in a different place, in different company. Now, A.J. McCarron is a back-to-back champion, starting quarterback on a back-to-back championship team. Right? There have been others, but let's just take A.J. McCarron for a second. Clint, do you know where those Alabama offenses finished in terms of passing offensive rating? Those seasons that A.J. McCarron played at Alabama.
I know who his running backs were and how well they did and how many Heisman votes they got. So,
in the 70s, both years.
Oh, no.
Okay. Georgia is 15th in passing offense in the NCAA this season.
I don't believe that.
Stetson Bennett is about to eclipse 4,000 yards passing for the University of Georgia. Now, we're talking about Georgia football and passing offensive statistics, and we're saying that Georgia is right there up at the top with all of these schools that don't care about winning.
No.
They don't care about – they're just flinging it around, running their Gus Malzahn up-tempo, pitch it around the yard type of offenses. Georgia and Stetson Bennett have put together monster numbers and combined that with wins. Now you look at all of the reasons that everyone told me that Stetson Bennett didn't deserve any credit for the championship last year. And all of those people left the team and are no longer a part of the team anymore. And here Georgia is with a better record than last year, with a chance to go back-to-back, with a better offense. And now you're going to tell me that he's got too many good weapons on offense to be taken seriously. Stetson Bennett, if he wins and plays well on Monday, which I expect for us to win, he has to play well on Monday. If he wins on Monday, Stetson Bennett will be the most successful quarterback in the history of college football in all of the most meaningful ways. And there's no way that you could argue me anything different. Now, you can change the definition of best to something other than most successful. That's fine. But for me, I would rather my quarterback be the best, meaning he succeeds more.
Yeah, this is the easiest answer in the entire world. All you fantasy football jugheads, stat room heroes, have it. I don't care.
Take it.
Please. I want wins, and I want championships, and I want excellent play at doing that.
I want efficiency. I want success. I want moving the ball. I want scoring points. What else do you want him to do?
Big O is the best tight end prospect in this year's draft because he's the best football player. I don't care about statistics. They'll come. Sure. It'll happen. Okay? Stetson Bennett will be, if we win, will go down as the most successful. Been there, climbed the mountain, and overcame every single thing. Checked off every single box. And if you think leading the league in yards makes you the best quarterback,
the Tom Brady argument is incredible. I'm not comparing Stetson Bennett to Tom Brady.
No.
But I am saying Tom Brady has never been the most physically gifted quarterback in the NFL, not for one season that he's played in the NFL.
He's never been the most physically gifted anything in any room that he's ever been a part of.
But Tom Brady is the best quarterback to ever live.
I hate saying that, and it's true.
And Stetson Bennett is the best college quarterback. He's already far and away surpassed best Georgia quarterback of all time.
There's zero debate.
You don't have to take my word for it. Aaron Murray was on the podcast, the guy that the stat room hero wants to anoint as the best Georgia quarterback of all time. Aaron Murray was on the podcast, and he said Stetson Bennett's the best quarterback of all time at Georgia. There's no debate about that. There's no debate about that. And let me just say, this is only for the 199 for the third segment listeners, and for John Tweet Sports, who I don't count as part of the 199. John, listen to me. Listen to me real closely. Because I'm only going to say this once, and it's premature, and it's an off-season conversation. But I'm afraid I'll forget it, and it came up now, and so here we go. Please stop, everyone, with the Carson Beck is just going to slide right in here and take over everything that Stetson has done, and it's going to just be seamless Do I hope that happens? Absolutely, I do. But that is the exact kind of undermining disrespect that Stetson Bennett continually gets. Carson Beck has never done anything in his college career. Anything.
I think the last 5 G days, Daniel.
I'm not saying I'm not thrilled that he's my quarterback next year. I'm thrilled that he's a Georgia Bulldog and that he's going to be my quarterback. I'm thrilled about it. Please don't act like just because the same offensive weapons are going to be back, just because Brock Bowers is going to be back, just because the receivers are going to be there. Please don't act like that, because
back and better.
Stetson makes this offense go.
And
Stetson Bennett's the guy that makes this offense go.
And that's what I find so hilarious about sports in general. You could talk talent and skill and strength and height and all of that. You could do it all day long. It doesn't mean a lick of anything if you don't go out and play. I showed for the very first time Jerry Rice a picture to my kid, and he said, "That can't be the best wide receiver that's ever played the game." Dad, have you seen
Megatron?
Metcalf?
Have you seen Julio Jones?
I said, this is the best cat because, again, he played and was successful at it. So don't get it twisted, sports fan.
Yeah.
Stetson is, if we win, will be and there's no way to twist it in any other vernacular other than just to simply say you don't like sports, you like individual numbers that make you feel good. That's what you should say.
We have been directly confronted with Georgia fans who specifically said to us in no uncertain terms that they would rather lose with a 5-star than win with a walk-on.
They said he's like a Honda when we have Ferraris.
When we could have a Ferrari.
But the Ferrari's engine doesn't do anything and it can't get out of the garage.
It doesn't make you go to the place you want to go. Well, I don't care about that. I'm in a Ferrari.
Okay, good on you. I'll take the Honda that does it every single day.
Stop tweeting. Just wait till Georgia gets a 5-star quarterback in here in this system under Todd Monken. Do I want a 5-star quarterback to be starting for Georgia under Todd Monken? Sure, that'd be fun. But he's not going to be better than Stetson Bennett, most likely. He's not going to have more success than Stetson Bennett, most likely. And so if I had the option, I would rather have Stetson Bennett than a 5-star quarterback. Georgia fans, embrace what you have right now, because you may very well be staring in the face of the best college football player of all time by the only metric that really matters. And this is it. This is the last game that you're going to get it for.
Just soak it in, y'all. Soak it in.
Yeah.
This is Locked On Bulldogs, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We'll be back tomorrow with more information about this national championship game. We will see you guys then.
See ya.